Welcome, my friends, to the Psychotronic Matrix. I have a book, and I have fabulous books, but this book was given to me, and I think I should share it with thee, you people and my friends. It's supposedly a cookbook. Now, it's not. This is not a cookbook. This is not a normal book. This is the book. Yes, I apologize for my... And then on the back, it's got this. I got this from a lady friend, Betty. It says, From Grits to Gourmet. The Felonian Cookery. Get it? Written by Talia and Ilya Chicolo. But see, not only does this book have... See, when I opened to this book the first time, this is not a cookbook per se. This is something else going on entirely. Page 160. Deja vu of astral demise. Dreams are the timeless voyage, and into these time zones forbidden to life's consciousness flow man and woman for the better part of their lives. As a matter of fact, so many unaware of the realities to reality, their integrated circuitries remain dormant, even while awake, unless they are stimulated to some degree, now and then by drug, junk foods, rituals, sex, or booze. True. From youth, most children are taught being by misguided systems, rather than taught how to develop their natural and psychic abilities. Of course, the system revolves around economics, and y'all know there's where that's heading to. While on the other hand, the eternal universe revolves around the common sense and consciousness. Yeah, it does. As mentioned throughout the introduction, diet plays a tremendous role in relative to man's true psychic developments and spiritual expansions. Oh man, hold on. Okay. When diet, spirituality, and one's psyche are developed together, astrality and deja vus unify into present day to the hour to a now type thing as well. That means you'll become fully synchronized. This chapter is designated to help with all those who can't or won't go to Zen or Swami gurus, etc., to enhance their realization about what's been missing. BIN. Life isn't easy for these folks who had to fight wars, go through depressions, and raise arrogant children all the time at the same time. Like them, many people today under modern new wavers, etc., are having to face this same uncanny reality, only its illusion to look like a real different. Quicksand always has the same resulting effect. It's true. Yet its basic appearance on the surface differs from some place to place and time to time. When will the salt of the earth come to realize all that the grounds they have lost, physically and spiritually, by allowing the youth to make them the same mistakes they are not allowed to make? Because most people can't always get what they want to fulfill their basic needs. They often pretend it doesn't exist. In turn, they make awful hard for those who should have it to get it. Of course, being a full, simple, and happy life. Sure, all worth having exist, and is there for the taking. Yet in truth, it's wired up in such a way where no one can get anything for real, unless they put in for real. False activity has always equated with reactionist mode de apprendi, relative to all things. Modus de operandi. Inasmuch as we're all going to heaven, all is not yet as it should be. For long as the monies and the chips of the world are governed by man's intellect, they will continue to crack pots and jackpots in power. Of course, there's always those who really would like to honestly help all their people come to experience life's truer meanings with the same dignity and pleasure that they and their families would like to experience it as being. Yet they too get caught and then lose on the basic simplicities relative to our real purpose for being here. I've heard it said, what's gonna happen is gonna happen no matter what. So what the heck? We might as well party. Well, when I saw what I saw was an enlightened person being blinded by their own glowing ego. I. See, this person knows about the I. They write it. Y'all are what you eat. And you failed to see where you're sitting on top of the quicksand with the real magic carpet under you. It's worth far more than just throwing up any carpet onto the sludge and jumping onto it. Real magic ain't under people's control yet, because all the astral powers have been abused in all times for once, long ago in the kingdoms of the equal allotments. All along there have been those who had to sell out for the exhibition of power rather than bestowing the proper bejewelments onto the not so fortunate. The sharing of time and happiness by those who know better must complete a full circle of repercussion. Otherwise, terrorism and wars will always break out. When the ultimate enactment of it comes to a calming sense about it all at grit level, why I do declare, everyone will be astrally bound one day, once and for all. Till then, if you don't believe in it, try not eating for a spell and see how lightheaded you get. Better yet, try eating proper and see how light you get. If you are skeptical and don't believe in the astral part of you, try to go to sleep with a scale next to your bed and weigh yourself just before you go to sleep. Write it down now. No going to the bathroom unless you weigh it. And when you wake up early morning, weigh yourself immediately before the deep breath, and you'll see yourself the noticeable loss. Then I walk around for a bit, taking it in, nothing, or letting it out back nothing but air, and you will see how your weight comes back to normal. In other words, something you didn't know about was there, it left, and when it came back. What is this? Where did it go? And what did it do? Are all worthwhile questions which remain unanswered each day and night at all the people's lives. Man's full astral cosmic self is always within himself. Yet look at the limited reflection being imposed. No wonder. Hardly anybody's happy with each other anymore. Because the fact they are unhappy with themselves. Obviously, the wrong game is being reflected to everyone. And it's time to put the politicians and their mentors should want and to help the ailing social structure rather than worry about the economics so much. If all is to react accordingly before it's too late for anyone, those in power must adhere to the common sense. Then, only with positive reaction can the story of creation get on with the more eloquent commods in the cosmos. Comets. The Great One be telling me himself, Joe, the simplest of my children are almost ready to accept fulfill common sense. They just need a break. Along with the relevancies of space, time, and dimensional travel, there should be more of the proper schools, just teaming up with students who qualify to learn the such. Problem is, there isn't. Is there? Because there aren't enough qualified teachers yet. Imagine, though, the basic diet of grits alone, meaning basic whole grains and veggies, how every individual can teach himself how to partake in the present dance of the cosmic atoms. Conscious atoms. having to know knowledge to do the trick, be the religion's physics or not, will not qualify one to enter Soit universal classrooms until the proper form are filled out with the substance of value. Of course, I be taking your personal form because one must go beyond the paper of it all in order to become real reflector of peace and loving truth. The diplomas are being given today are not for the good of man, but for the good of economics alone. There is no more joy to be had when people's actually fulfill their dimension of their own cosmic self, rather than just pretending to know all about it. Be one of those who say, "Man, I don't believe in all that stuff." I've always had to smile when I heard one of those monks in the remote monasteries who can levitate and are burdened to their weary and heavy chain so they don't get too high for their own good. Kind of reminds me about them who could bend the spoons with their minds. Then they spent the rest of their lives trying to bend something else. The true mystic shows no trick to no one until they have learned they are ready to walk together with both feet planted firmly on the ground, being about able to be honestly handle having their heads above the clouds. By eating well, for real. This will activate the atoms characterized within the subconscious you. Then you will qualify to learn the hows to for real. And real peace loving, walking, talking, eating proper persons who has proven care for themselves at grit level can access the universal files about the atomic potential. Matters not of what religion or beliefs be holden either. Enlightenment means to be accepted child of the great family, where ye shall reap accordingly. When you get your spiritual dream body, when your spiritual dream body is allowed to intermesh with your hard-headed, egocentrical one, then you will function as Godhead basic unit, enjoying the full illusionary dimension of the now. Believe me, now is not as heavens to be. Yet, from here, and with what y'all get to work with, one must find a reality worth living for. To experience all dimensional perspective simultaneously means to have done the groundwork first. Char and chew, eat. The astral inward reflection reflect the same story as the reflection of the outside of your bod. You've all seen some mighty fine, good-looking people not know or reflect half as much of the real love and ugly folks who had contact with the spiritual form within and vice versa. This outer shell we all wear means nothing unless it's connected to the inner you, together qualified to connecting with the one God. Look at yourself as being within a tiny bubble, nested within 7 billion other bubbles, all just a brewing, within a gentle confines of one big bubble. Some of the little bubbles have got dim lights on, while others got their brights on, blinding them what's really trying to look out. And of course, there's always has to be someone trying to prick someone else's. And then there's those who are just sitting back in the blinking space, awaiting to be zapped into some form of recognition. Let's venture for a spell just beyond this massive translucent module and see what's sitting back there a blowing this bubble. Aye. Will you look at that? Thank God he don't boip boip without consciousness. So, if you still want to astral travel, if so, begin from within, know thyself inside and out, and then stand ready, keen, alert, and peaceful. Each and one day, one way or the other, y'all in for a treat. Just remember the ground rules, otherwise there's no value, comes from nothing of value. Anything of real value is coming from those who are honestly sharing peace of goodwill amongst mankind, regardless of the status quo. Meanwhile, people have to stop killing and dying believing in just this. causing so many others to die believing in that. And then there's those who be killing and dying believing in nothing. So where does this leave all of those who have needs and want to learn and are not being able to? Well, how you say, God bless them, and let's get on with the cooking. The game isn't over yet, and look, another 100 or so dim lights just came on. So keep eating your grains and veggies and fruits and nuts in harmony with the seasons, and it won't be long till your light comes shining right, and there with all the rest who come to know and do better for real. That's pretty cool. And it is like that. There's a lot of touching on some very real shit. That's thank you. Please subscribe.